Hello everyone, this is Simon from Moontrap. Today, I'm going to presenting Application Insight. This is a visibility appliance, or it's called AISVA. Here is the contents. There's a contents I'm going to be presenting. First is SSL Security Essential. In this topic, we are going to take a look at why SSL security is important for services and products. Second, Application Insight SVA introduction. That in this topic, why the AISVA is AISVA's functions and features are needed for your network system environment and the normal network system environment nowadays. The third, Application Insight SVA function. Which functions are composed, and we will see important AISVA's key features in detail. Lastly is deployment case study. I will show you how AISVA can be deployed in numerous network environments. First is SSL Security Essential. SVA stands for the SSL Visibility Appliance. I guess you can get an idea from the words SSL and visibility. Basically, SSL visibility decrypts the encrypted protocols such as HTTPS, SMTPS, POP3S, FTPS, and etc. For the other network solution, which cannot decrypt these, we support the network solution which cannot decrypt these kind of protocols. If you have an interest in our web services or web browsers, may you have heard that most of the web server alerts this page is not safe. Fewer pages keep showing that this page is not safe because you have accessed the HTTP website, not an HTTPS. Even if the unencrypted protocol is not safe enough anymore, still many products and services don't support the SSL traffic, such as IDS and load collection server, and maybe firewall or the IPS. So we know that SSL is important because we have really many reports and we have shown many newses and alerts from the various ways. So let's find out what is the SSL is. SSL stands for Secure Socket Layer. It is developed for safe communication between a web server and browser in 1993. After the SSL version 1 is released, the TLS version 1.3, which is the highest version, is used nowadays. In case of a TLS version 1.3 is released in August 2018. The difference between TLS and SSL is a level of security. The lowest version is SSL version 1, So the latest version, TLS, stands for the Transport Layer Security, that it is released till version 1.3. So basically, SSL and TLS has no difference. Currently, SSL version 1 and SSL version 2 are not allowed and not recommended anymore. Therefore, most of our web services uses TLS version 1.3 and 1.2, 1.1 and 1.0 are in use mostly. And also, even nowadays in SSL version 3, it's not recommended anymore. If you install the Windows OS or Linux OS and check the configuration of a SSL in your OS configuration, if you check the SSL setting, then you may see that SSL version 2 and 3 is disabled. Most of OS is not use the SSL version 3 nowadays. The SSL can be described as layer for protocol. The data is covered with SSL, therefore many protocols can be encrypted. Famous protocol HTTPS and FTPS, SMTPS, and POP3S, etc. Even the NNTP and LDAP SIP can be encrypted by SSL or TLS. Each protocol's communication methods and rules are different, but the encrypted method are same. Therefore, the Moontrap has developed the SSL visibility appliance to decrypt and encrypt again for the other solutions. As I explained, SSL traffic is continuously increased with following report. Around 25–30% of the total traffic is SSL, and it is increased 20% annually. For the security, APT attacks encrypted APT attacks encrypt itself to attack the vulnerable server or users. So 50% of total cyber attacks in 2017 were encrypted with SSL. These reports is meaning that SSL traffic handling is not an option. It is essential for your network and server. And few services such as web browsers and applications are already recommended not using unencrypted protocols. Due to the recommendations and alerts, many server manager or security manager enable the SSL setting or configuration or options. But if the SSL version is not managed as much as protocol or server and services, the traffic can be easily be decrypted by a man-in-the-middle attack. So the SSL version 1 or 2 or 3 are not allowed or not recommended anymore. The reason is vulnerabilities were found in 2014. The famous vulnerability Heartbleed and Poodle attack can be decrypted. The data with it decrypts the data with a simple command line or codes. The Heartbleed uses the vulnerability of a Heartbeat extension in OpenSSL library. It can allow the attackers to steal the contents of the system memory from the server. The Poodle attack uses the feature of the SSL. It attacks the SSL server which still uses the lower than SSL version 3.0. It tries to connect the SSL with the lower version with the vulnerability. If the server connects the SSL with version 1 with the attacker, all data will be decrypted easily. So, the ordinal security appliances such as IPS or firewall didn't or couldn't decrypt the SSL due to the no decryption function or system overloads or etc. Therefore, the attacker can attack the server's vulnerabilities without any obstacles. And of course, find out vulnerability is not that hard, but it's not the point for this diagram. As you can see, to solve this obstacle and issues, AISVA is needed for this network. Even if the firewall or IPS does not have the function of SSL decryption, AISVA will decry the encrypted traffic for these. And then these two security appliances will reply back the data to AISVA without encryption. So both sides are plain data. It is not. They are not encrypted. So and after that, after the AISVA receives the data, it encrypts again and send back to the server. So whole traffic will be encrypted with good quality and get protected by the security appliances which does not support SSL decryption. The second application inside SVA introduction. Okay. If you check the data such as HTTP or SMTP or SIP or other protocols which is not that encrypted, the data with TCP dump or Wireshark, if you check these kind of traffic with the TCP dump or Wireshark, the data is shown as readable and is shown as readable characters and data. So it is plain readable, but In the other way, if you check the SSL encrypted data with a TCP dump or Wireshark, the unreadable characters will be shown. The unreadable characters cannot be decrypted even if even a computer. The computer cannot decrypt the traffic without the decryption key. All vulnerabilities, as I explained. Anyway, even if the AISVA decrypt and re-encrypt the traffic, the data is not changed or removed. One of the Moontrap's patented technology is full transparent proxy. So full transparent proxy. So based on this technology, AISVA operates in stealth mode without any IP or MAC address. Therefore, there has no impact on the existing network. So it means you don't need to change the configurations of the server or switch or gateway appliances. You just connect the cables, and configure it in an AISVA. The configured traffic will be connected as a full proxy. And also, AISVA provide the fail open and fail closed features for the physical bypass in case of hardware or software system failure. AISVA's main purpose is encryption and decryption for the security appliances. So AISVA have to interwork with the internal security appliances. So SSL have to be always stabilized and connected. To ensure the service status, AISVA should check the current internal security appliances status. Because if the internal products, for example, firewall is in malfunction, it is not bypassed. All of the traffics can be blocked. In that case, AISVA bypass the interface not to be disconnected. To check the internal appliance, SVA uses health check with ICMP and IPS traffic. AISVA does not decrypt the only inbound traffic for the SSL server. Nowadays, various internal user protection appliances is in the market, such as Secure Web Gateway, Web Gateway Security Appliance, or DLP, Data Loss Prevention Solution, or Forensic, Email Gateway, or etc. And user-targeted SSL encryption attack is increased. Due to that, AISVA also can decrypt the internal user's traffic. Um, to decrypt the internal client's traffic, it does not require the it doesn't require the select the destination port or in source ports. AISVA provides the virtual patching to prevent the vulnerability attack, such as the SSL vulnerabilities. As I explained, the SSL vulnerabilities such as Hotbleed and Poodle. These kind of attacks should be protected by highest version of SSL or newest version of SSL library. So SSL library version should be managed all the time. So to prevent SSL server actually installing the newest library and uploading in SSL server can be efficient way, but if you cannot change the configuration right away, protection can be hard. Actually, SSL library upgrading or updates or even the reconfiguration takes more than 30 minutes or 1 hour. During these times, SSL connections are not surely stabilized. It can be attacked. Your SSL server can be attacked. So, if you use the AISVA, it provides the virtual patching that not to be connected with the weakness version of SSL between client and AISVA. In case of a library vulnerability, Moontrap checks the current 0-day attacks for SSL to provide the virtual patching for appliance. Maybe I already explained about some of the products does not have the function to detect selected port number. For example, port 8080 with HTTP protocol or port 8443 with the HTTP or HTTPS protocol. You know, the HTTP protocol should use the port 80 and HTTPS protocol should use the port 443. But we have always variety. So if we connect this product with AISVA, it will cause a traffic handling issue because AISVA just decrypts the traffic and does not change the port number. For example, if the AISVA get the inbound traffic from the client side with HTTPS protocol, which is using port 443, then AISVA will change the protocol structure to HTTP due to the decryption function, and then the AISVA will use the port number 443. So it's mismatched. Port number is 443, but protocol is HTTP. In this case, if the internal products cannot handle this kind of traffic, which is this traffic, then whole traffic can cause a disconnection. Because of these issues, AISVA have redirection function. Actually, we called service port redirection. So, for example, example, if the AISVA decrypt the HTTPS protocol with port 443, then AISVA pass the traffic to the internal solutions with a protocol HTTP and port number 80. Additionally, you can select the domain to bypass. If the specific domain is not configured in AISVA, it will not be connected as a proxy and be decrypted. So AISVA require three types of information. Actually, IP and port protocol. And in case of a domain, it's optional. If your web server does not have that, if your web server does not need to use a domain name, then you don't need to configure the domain. You don't need to configure the domain name in the AISVA. AISVA. Maybe I already explained about the internal user decryption. AISVA can decrypt the internal user's outbound traffic. The AISVA's certificates to do that, AISVA should the internal users should use the SVA's certificates on the OS platform. To register the certificates for the internal users, it must be really hard. Maybe the manager have to register the certificates for every users. But if your internal users are 1,000 staffs are your internal users, or maybe 10,000, 100,000, how about 1 million? The manager cannot register the SVA certificates on the PC by manually. So the SVA provides certificates registration page. SVA will guide how to register these certificates on the OS manually, or it will in the page will show the exe file to run to register the certificates automatically. So the security manager or network staff managers does not have to worry about that. I'm sorry, the SS certificate distribution page was not be the next. So this diagram was a explanation of a certificate distribution, which I explained already. And And may you should think, may you should think that how about unregistered the staff or internal users who does not register, who did not register the SVA certificate on the OS. In that case, SVA provides two options. Keep shows the distribution page for unauthorized, unregistered client, or keep blocks the connections. So we have so we lead the users to download the certificates and register it easily. And the SVA have self-learning for website that is not available about SSL communication. Clients have to register the SVA certificates on the device, such as PC, laptop, mobile, or tablets. But it has exception, such as the Skype, Windows updates, WhatsApp, Line. These kinds of applications use their own certificate, and their own certificate is integrated on their application. Therefore, these applications cannot use the registered certificates. Because of that, the applications can be disconnected because users, applications, and SVA cannot be connected as a proxy. Due to that, SVA provide self-learning bypass and online pattern updates. And the self-learning rule is quite simple. If the certain application failed to connect the internet, the SVA will pipe a load to access the application. They accept the application, the web browsers, Chrome, Firefox, IE, or Opera. These things will be decrypted by SVA, except the unencryptable applications. Okay. And also, SVA provides full support for IPv6 network environment. Actually, SVA mostly uses in a internal network system. So IPv6 network environment, we actually may you did not have to worry about the IPv6 network because AICVA mostly uses in a internal network like a small site network. But SVA can support the IPv6. We have an I have an I can see the Q&A regarding the HSTS issue. Does the AISVA can avoid the HSTS issue? Yes, you can avoid the HSTS issue because HSTS issues it's also a sort of application problem. So AISVA known will be will be known that this communication should be bypassed. So maybe in the first time it will show a problem, but in the next time it will be bypassed. Except that session, the other sessions will be connected as a proxy. So you don't have to, you don't need to, you don't have to worry about that. I hope. So in the next, is the next page is AISVA product lineup. We have in 200 Y17, 500 Y17, and 1000 Y17, 2000, 4000, 8000 Y17, and Y18. These lineups are released in 2017 and 2018, but now it's a 2020. SVA hardware lineup have released recently. ASVA 200 Y20, 500 Y20, 1000 Y20, 2000 Y20, 4000 Y20, 8000 Y20 are released. Of course, the Y20 hardware model lineups are upgraded more than the Y7 are upgraded. It has better performance, better performance, easy to deploy. If you need a catalog of a Y20 model, I can provide you on an email. Okay. Okay. On the third is AISVA function. It is the SVA's main function: monitoring, logging, policy, configuration. Let me show you this. Let me show you this with the actual UI. Okay, this is monitoring. This is monitoring page. If you have experience of a Moontrap's products, then you can see that the colors and structure of the pages are different because the SVA uses the newest or new UI system. So the monitoring page is quite simple, easy to check, and easy to monitoring. And it shows the detailed information of a hardware system. It checks each CPU average CPU usage and core usage and hits of a hardware and CPU chipsets. And then of course it shows the interfaces status, and even it checks the power and fan status. And an SSL registration page. It's much simplified than the before, but the functions and quality of a quality are upgraded. Easy to use, high quality is our goal. Is our goal and is our target. In SSL server registration page, it's protected server certificate and private key file can be registered for inbound traffic. It means to decrypt the SSL server. For outbound, automatic SSL session recognition without registering an additional server. And sometimes we got an request that we'd like to. Some of our managers said we'd like to distribute the certificates, our own certificates, not on SVA's certificates. In that case, of course, we can distribute your own certificates in our setting. It is a new options for AISVA. So you don't need to use only the SVA's certificate. If you have your own, you can use it. For the next is a passive mirror setting. SVA provide a passive mirroring setting, passive mirroring that it mirrored the packets for the external server. If you have the IDS system, then AISVA will decrypt the traffic and copy the traffic and pass to the IDS. This is called the passive mirroring configuration, and the AISVA provide the passive mirroring. The next is product setting. Of course, the AISVA provide the English version, Korean, and Japanese. And in product setting, HA mode and operating modes can be set with a single button. And this is an SSL session log. It shows the actual client IP and interface and server IP and host name and algorithms of a SSL. So it's quite a detail of a SSL session. Which interface got it from, what was the source, what was the destination, which SSL version did they used, and which algorithm did they used, and whether it success to connect or failed to connect. Okay. Next is audit log, that it shows the administrator's system operation history. So it shows the current SVA's status. If the as you can see on the picture, if the CPU is overloaded, it shows in an audit log. If you log in, then it shows the login, whether it's a login success or failed, and whether it check the integrity all the time. Okay. So next is a deployment case study. Maybe this is a key part and the most important part of this webinar. First is an active inline mode, which is the maybe our 90% of our customer uses this connection. Maybe 80% or 90%. The configurations for transmitting and receiving the decrypted traffic by inline connection over AISVA. So, as I explained, the AISVA provide AISVA support full transparent proxy. So you don't have to change the network configuration by the client side, server side, or internal solutions for such as firewall, IPS, maybe WAF, or etc. Just connect the cables ETH1, 2, 4, 3, and make them flow with. Then the whole traffic will decrypt and encrypt and pass. So SVA does not make any changes on ordinal data. It just decrypts and re-encrypt as you want. Okay. Next is passive inline mode. That the passive inline mode is it has only one simple differences between the active inline mode. Okay, please check in detail. Active inline mode, passive inline mode. Can you see the differences? Okay, in the passive inline modes is SVA provide the passive mirroring configuration, right? So if the SVA decrypt the traffic on the ETH2, then it send it decrypted traffic through the ETH5 for the log collection server. Because most of the log collection server cannot decrypt the traffic, so it's sent to the log collection server or IDS. Okay, let me make an example. If you want to the pure data file with a decrypted status, then copy the traffic on ETH2 and send it to the ETH5. But in the other way, if you want to check the data which is the traffic data that server got, how the server got the data. In that case, copy the traffic on ETH4 and send it through the ETH6. So ETH2 is a client side traffic with a decrypted client side traffic. ETH4 is a server side decrypted traffic. So if you want to monitoring, or if you want to collect the servers, or if you want to collect the data from the servers or IDS, then you can use a passive inline mode. Actually, these configurations are mostly used on the management security MSSP management security providers to monitoring system and analyzing. Okay, next is SSL termination mode. Actually, the SSL terminations are one of our strong points. You can see the SSL termination mode network diagram is quite interesting. It does not use the 4 interfaces. It uses only 2 interfaces, one pair interfaces. If the server, if your firewall IPS cannot detect the SSL encrypted traffic, and if you don't want to enable the SSL configuration on the server, then you can you can use the SSL termination mode. If you enable the SSL termination mode, between the client and SVA will communicate with the SSL encrypted way, with the SSL encrypted, and between the SVA till the server side, use the plain data. So, for example, if the SSL server is HTTP web server, if this is a web server, then between the client and SVA, use the HTTPS. But between the SVA to SSL server, use HTTP. And also, we can provide the redirection page for web services. Maybe the client tried to access with the HTTP protocol. In that case, SVA send the reply data for redirection. SVA replied the redirection page for redirection page that please access with the HTTPS server. But actually, the client side is automatically the redirect to the HTTPS protocol, and the client side cannot notice that. So anyway, SSL termination mode is provided in AISVA. And the next is mirroring mode, that actually 5% or 3% of our customer use this kind of function. Basically, mirroring the decrypt the mirrored traffic is on it has a limitation. Only maybe the 10% of the traffic can be decrypted, not 100%. So we do not recommend this network configuration. We do not. Our recommendation is the second one, passive inline mode. Because most of, maybe most of, firewall, IPS, log collection, IDS, monitoring service does not support SSL decryption. Or even if the network solutions or security solution provide the SSL decryption function, they don't like to use this, because if the SSL decryption function is enabled, the CPU usage is going high. It's just going high too much. So if our customer newly install the SVA on the network system, server, and actually the security appliances and network solutions, security solutions, products, appliances, their CPU usage are decreased so much. So this is our recommendation. Why the SVA is important? Why you have to use the SVA on your customer for your network system? So today's webinar is finished. Thank you for attend, and thank you for listening. This webinar will be uploaded on YouTube. We are going to send you the YouTube link to watch it again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending our webinar. Thank you very much.